So I'm in the middle of this project that some of you have seen. It's a bunch of sort of scenes right now with some characters. I don't know what it is, to be honest. And like many artists, I'm looking to my old work to see what kind of energies were stirring around then to figure out where I am now. So this is December 93. This binder's from. This is the binder that became New Hat, and I thought I would show just a couple of bits from it as we start, and then maybe more later. We'll get to that stuff later. That's probably as it was moving along. I see some cards. It says Patience and the Rhythms of the Weather. This was after creating the Hutch Owen comic, which had no patience in it whatsoever and no weather. Here's a page called Covers. I don't know if it started as the beginning of this book, but it moved eventually to the beginning of the book for obvious reasons. This is the actual book as it was finished, so we'll get to that later. I spent a moment just looking at this bombastic. This was the header. I guess this would be October 93. This was the header for when I realized I wanted to do, this needs tons of big words. I wanted to do a story that was more about the language and more about the words and more about the loudness of the words. So more about tone than anything else, and rhythm instead of story, instead of characters. And so any kind of interesting words, even if it's a simple word like dictate or stoic or wicked, who knows why some of these words got put down there. And then when certain phrases came into my head, tear me down, they became locked down into there. Likewise, do it fast and don't think about it at all. All of these are up pretty high up. They came pretty early. You know, vexatious, and often with some definitions, confusing and difficult and annoying. Truculence, modicum. Modicum did not get used, I don't think. Subterfuge did, I think. Indignant did not, etc., etc. So for a while, this page called Bombastic was just me trying to locate some words that aren't normally in a comic or in a kind of comic I was reading. So because I was always looking for something new at this point anyway. And then at this point, now we're in December, I realized I wanted to go to a slow section, move, show the lighthouse, bell tower, the rake, the hoe, move this way. Oh yeah, and I wanted to move your eye in the direction of an E. Down the rocks, show the E. Eventually, it was going to be a hoe, it was going to be some other kinds of horizontal marks, but eventually I wound up using a finger, carving those into the sand or cutting those into the sand, which was a less formally interesting way to do it, but just a little bit easier. So that's a little bit of a look. Here's another. Now we're getting into actual writing of the prose. Strike me down with your strident clubs, etc., etc. So now this is the sort of a little glimpse of a look into the first story of what would become New Hat.